And welcome to Batman Radio. You're tuned in with your host, the Batman, the one and only Tyree Sneed. So, real quick, man, I just want to go over this, bro. Y'all do realize what time it is, right? It's karma time, right? It's been karma time. Like I said, it ain't YouTube, it's karma too, man. Like, I'm seeing it all happening right in front of my eyes. I'm seeing it play out in the world. I'm seeing it on the news headlines. I see it every day, man. I see all the corrupt, all the evil people of this world, like getting everything that they deserve and they've had coming for decades and centuries and years. You know what I mean? I am 100% the Messiah. Always have been, always will be. These people knew I was day one. That's why they were already referring me to as that as such. They were already referring to me as the Messiah. I didn't come up with that. These people said it, right? Just like other people on here were calling me an angel and saying the name Annuel and stuff. So, these people, a lot of them are demonically possessed. They're actual demons. And I mean, it would make sense that, we would have this spiritual back and forth and this stuff going on this planet, on this world, and the principalities and the spiritualities, the spirits would go, back and forth and, you know, do what they're going to do. And, it would always be between good and evil. It's what I've always told people, all this other stuff is a distraction at the end of the day. Um, it's always about good versus evil, you know what I mean? But God is not a distraction. God is very real. And like I said, I work to try to bring people to God the right way every day. You know what I mean? Um, I saw some other people, they had put up some more videos about me. A lot of them, they go to TikTok and stuff. They always average thousands to millions of views on any platform. Like I said, my notoriety is growing without trying, and I think this is all part of the process that, the fame, I knew the fame was going to come day one, man. Nobody had to tell me it was going to come. I just already knew it. I don't know how, I can't explain it all to you, but I just knew it was coming. I guess I just naturally know I have this in me. Um, but you know, why would it not make sense that, a savior and a messiah would actually literally be Batman? I mean, like I said, the difference is the chronology of events. Y'all are looking at these films that came out in whatever, like the 1980s or before or whatever, and you always want to compare in your mind because you're all brainwashed, so you want to sit there and say, oh, they're doing something based off the film. No, I'm the only real thing as far as we have knowledge of, unless there is something that predated me that they don't talk about and they try to hide the truth of, which I think there definitely have to be one, like in the Renaissance, or maybe in the Tartarian society. It would make a lot of sense. But the whole point is just, it makes perfect sense that God would create a real Batman and create an actual savior. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. Like I said, like, you know, I mean, I'm still, going through things even when I'm training. I talked to Christina about it. It just has to do with, my bulletproof vest and the plate. But when I'm doing the motions, it kind of like swing up on me, So I'm dealing with that. But you know, I try to look at it like nothing can stop me. That's just the way I try to look at it. You know what I mean? And no matter how hard it gets, I don't believe that God is going to allow anything to stop me at this point. But if it does, it does. But I just, I doubt it. you know, I honestly, truly think I'm invincible at this point. I think I'm immortal, literally. No matter what it looks like. I've been through so much pain, so much suffering, especially the last few years, just absolute suffering. I've been through so much pain in my life, man. Like it doesn't do much to me, man. I'm pretty immune to it. You know what I mean? I still feel it. It still sucks, but I tend to push through everything, and that's what my life's been about. This picture I'm showing you, this is was actually in a hospital in Atlanta. And it was after I got set up in this club, okay, um, Wild Bills, okay, and I got set up in there, I believe by their own security, right? Personally, and I think they were like off duty or something, but it was a complete setup because I was wearing rings on every finger and just like usual, I was looking good, and people get jealous. It just is what it is. There was always like a lot of women around in those clubs and stuff, and people were just hating, you know what I mean? Especially like in Georgia. I've noticed in Georgia, y'all love to hate. I don't know why. I still got a friend that I talk to from time to time in Georgia. But like I said, they did like an inside job on me, right? I had to reteach myself how to talk. Okay, I couldn't really think straight for like a good while. I think it only took me about a week, 2 weeks. I bounced right back. Um, and like I said, in the hospital, they were identifying pieces of metal. Okay, where this happened. Okay, and like I said, what happened to me, it happened in my temple, right? Which is literally unsurvivable. Okay, and the dude who did it was about, I'd say, easily 6'6" to 6'8". I mean, he was huge dude. Okay. So you just gotta understand, I mean, and what he did was, total cheap, where I wasn't looking, I didn't know what was going on. I was just a club goer, and it was just something that happened, you know what I mean? It was a misunderstanding, whatever. So first of all, you gotta understand, I come from reality. You feel me? It ain't nothing new for me. And you gotta understand at this time, the picture you're looking at, I was like 17, 18, bro. I'm fresh out of high school, man. I don't know nothing about life at that point. I'm just doing me. And like I said, it was just a misunderstanding, like a whatever discrepancy, like in the club. You know what I mean? Things happen in the club. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks they're Billy Tough Guy in the club. You know. And at the time, I had this fake friend named Cliff. I remember, right? And he comes from the other group or other culture, right? And he ain't do nothing. He just sat there and let it happen or whatever. So like I remember being dizzy and spinning and seeing people, and then like I heard like all these girls were screaming and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a crazy scene, man. What I survived was again unsurvivable. So I have a habit of doing this. I couldn't even see out like my left or right eye for a little while. And then I remember they kind of worked on me with like the paramedics outside of the club because I was actually unconscious for a good, I think it was only like 15 seconds. Could have been longer, could have been shorter. I was out cold, so I didn't know what was going on. And I had these like, again, kind of, I still think like fake friends, but they were some Indians, and they picked me up. Okay, and I had met them, so they knew who I was. I think I met them there or whatever, and like we were cool. The Indians, they saved me. They came to the rescue. They didn't save me. I would have been fine, but I'm saying they picked me up and they literally dragged me outside. Okay. So they had to pick me up, and they take me outside and get me over there. Um and then I think after that, after this all happened, I actually ended up staying with one of them, with a couple of them, the same guys I think, who helped me. And it was so crazy, man, because they had those little things that come in those little lanterns. You know what I'm talking about? They have them in Austin and all those places where, like, they're for meditation and stuff like that. Like, they're an interesting group of people. Like I've always had much love for them. I'm just the thing in Austin. I don't really look at it the same way. That's more like the new age of them, and I just think they're different. Like it just the issue becomes when you take over every business and you're like basically taking over blocks in an entire city. That becomes a problem. So that's a different story, right? But the point is, they helped me out. You know what I mean? And at some point, like I overstayed my welcome there or whatever, and then I just left and went on to the next thing or whatever. And I had old roommates and stuff over there in Georgia. So like I got my dude I talked to, the other roommates, a lot of bad stuff has happened or they did bad stuff, and um a lot of stuff has happened. You know what I mean? So some of the people I came up around or grew up around for a good while, I mean, things happen, you know what I mean? Some very serious things, you know what I mean? Some of them are in prison, some of them it's whatever, you know what I mean? I mean, it's really sad and it's tragic, you know what I mean? But like I said, this picture symbolizes a lot for me because this was like right after it happened. You see me, I look like nothing happened. If you actually look closely, you can look. You should be able to see kind of where it happened, possibly, right? But it might be on the other side. I can't really tell. It happened on my left side, I believe. So you should be able to see it a little bit. But the picture ain't going to do it justice. It was really bad when it happened, and that was probably after they gave me stitches. My whole point is I bounced back from so many things in my life. This is what people don't understand. It was never that I was weak. It was never that I took a loss. It was never that I lost in anything going on with anybody. it's just cheap stuff like this. It has to do with people being cowards, you know what I mean? Like I got set up just like Tupac got set up. That's a strike. That's a badge of honor. You know, if you getting set up, that means that you doing something right straight up. And when you come out on top of that and you still succeed, you know, people can't handle that, right? And like I said, in this situation, I mean, you know, everybody backed down, and it is what it is. You know, I'd already spoke to everybody, addressed everybody. They backed down, and that was all I cared about. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, as far as the dude who did it, I just never, you know, like never ran into him again, never saw him. And he ran away because, like, after this all happened, you know, I was clearly ready to go. My adrenaline's pumping, I'm ready to go. And I was literally at that time, like, trying to see, you know, where everybody was at. But like I said, they had already left. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, man. People are cowards, bro, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Again, this is when I was like 17, 18, you know, so you gotta understand, bro. I've been in a lot of crazy stuff, man. I used to go to clubs a whole lot. I've seen and done and had a whole lot of crazy stuff happen in clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came up hard, bro, for real, man. I came up tough. I came up in a different era when things were really real and everybody was just getting busy, and it just was what it was. It was a free for all, basically, you know. And I came up in Texas a lot where just the environment is different. Like, we were always hyped. Like, I always had to be on point because I didn't know who might have a problem, who might have an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you think I got built like this? I got built like this. I got cultivated. I got cultivated by God and my experiences that I went through in life. You know, like, I really am a tough guy. There's no fake tough Tony act over here. I'm really tough. I'm really built like that. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't do no talking and then make myself look crazy or look weak every time. I don't do no talking. Like, I just prove my point every time, and that I'm the strongest ever, and I win. And you know, at this time, this was a time where, like, this experience really shaped me and molded me, and it taught me a lot about life. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If it hadn't happened to me, I would have been like y'all, because I was kind of like y'all. Like, I was more entitled. I kind of had an attitude, in my opinion. Not too much, but I was a great, you know, I was a great kid, man. I was a good dude. I've always been a good dude, you know what I mean? But I just didn't understand life, and it wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? I wasn't like y'all, but I'm just saying it shaped me and molded me. It helped me a lot to grow. And that's the thing. I'm an alchemist. I take the most negative experiences and I grow from them and evolve. And that's what I try to teach people. But like I said, there's like people putting up TikTok posts and they talking about like I'm an inspiration to them. Basically, they saying like, yeah, like, here's Batman, and like, forget the haters, and you know, live life the way you want to live. You know, that really puts a smile on my face, man. I'm happy and proud, and just happy that, you know, it's helping people. You know what I mean? Like, it's helping the youth, it's helping grown folk, it's helping everybody to just be inspired, you know what I mean? And that is the truth. I mean, be what you want to be. I think I might know exactly who took the video. I don't know him, but I remember like when they did it. But you know, my whole point is that's good, you know, like, because I remember one dude said that I told you all about it. Like, he was filming it for his father, he said, or something, and he said something like that, like, "Are you Batman?" And I was like, I was like, "Yeah, like, no, I'm Superman." I was making a joke out of it. I was just joking around though, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm Batman." And he like took his video, and he said that like, man, you can be what you want to be, like talking to his father, like, you know, stuff like that. It's makes me feel pretty good, man. It's pretty inspiring to me. You know what I mean? Like, that I'm a driving force of actual inspiration to complete strangers and to people. I mean, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? That's definitely, you know, part of why I do all this. So, you know, I just thought it was nice, man. You know, it's always good to see people wake up and have that mentality. I mean, that is the truth. You live life the way you want, and you know, you try to do a career that makes money, of course, you know. And like, you know, I advise everybody to stay in school and try to go the normal route, but I also educate and say the truth about it, you know. And for me, you know, I did great in school, man. You know, like, I finished my basics in college. I dropped out as a multimillionaire. You know, my life's just been a whole lot different than most people, you know. So I can't really give people advice on all those things because I'm not in the same position as everybody. I wouldn't claim to be, you know what I mean? But losing my train of thought. I just thought that was super cool. I thought that was cool. Like, I inspired someone. You know what I mean? I just think that's such a powerful statement he made, like, that you live life the way you want. And if I don't know if it was the same guy or the other guy saying like that's good that I stand for that. Like real talk, that makes me pretty proud, man. I'm glad that people that means people are waking up a little bit. Like people are getting some of the message because there's several messages being sent through what I'm doing, but they're starting to gather the message a little bit. Like that is the message. Like, for me personally, I can't imagine working a 9 to 5 anymore. I've done it half my life. I mean, I've worked since I was 16. I try to get people to exit the matrix and get out the matrix. And I mean, nobody wants to work a 9 to 5. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've got people in all these agencies and departments waking up just listening to me and seeing what I'm doing. It's all a movement that I built myself. It's all about, my train of thought and just my psyche and how I think, and this is why people are so mad because I'm an influencer. I'm an influencer, that I'm an empath, but like I said, I can be a master manipulator if I want. The minute I open my mouth, I can pretty much get what I want and whatever I want to do. That's just how I've always been built because I've gathered a lot of knowledge. And you know what? Because I didn't run my mouth, because I would sit down and I would listen to people and I'd let them talk and I'd soak up everything like a sponge. That's the truth. You know what I mean? Like me, I'm just an open canvas. I'm just a sponge. I just take everything in. I don't regurgitate stuff. I don't copy. I don't bite off people. I don't just repeat stuff. I have my own train of thought, and I take the bad and the good and I take it in, and I use the things that can help me to my advantage with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, man. Like I said, I mean, I'm kind of going through it, like I said, after yesterday, after that thing happened with the plate, to be honest, you know what I mean? But hopefully I'll be all right. But it just didn't feel nice. It's because I'm trying to do the lifts with the vest on, and the vest wasn't pulled tight enough. And I mean, when I'm going up like that and my body's going vertical, I mean that vest is flinging up on me. So I mean, I just imagine. I mean, that plate is like concrete. I mean, it's basically like a brick. I mean, it's literally that hard and that tough. I mean, it's compared to like a red concrete brick. It's like asphalt. I mean, that plate is hard as hell, and it has to be because it's there to protect me. But when it flies up on me, it's not a good feeling. But I just hopefully I'll be all right. That's all I can say. But other than that, I mean, I just, for me, it doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean? It's just out of my control. I had a lot of head trauma, man. In my life, I'm a walking miracle. So that's why whenever something happens like that, there's a little bit of concern. Because of what I've already been through in my life. I mean, I just told you what happened to me here. I mean, when I was a little kid, they had to stitch me up and sew me literally like back together with a machine. Okay. And I have that right here in the middle of my nose and my forehead. Okay. Um, so you can figure out what happened. It was involving a slide, and I don't know if there was something on the slide or if I fell. I think I fell off, and my dad was there, and then yeah, everybody flipped because my dad like wasn't really. I don't know. I don't think he was really paying attention. He should have been. He was reading the paper. I mean, he was paying attention somewhat because he saw and he came and got me. But it was bad. He said I was trying to impress. I was trying to impress a girl. That's what he said, or something like that. So I do remember that kind of. I was a little kid, man. But I do remember like no, I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just I mean, I guess like in a playtime sense, you know what I mean? But I was just, probably doing something on the slide, and then, I fell. Um, but my dad at the time was, doing his own thing, and he had a lot going on, a lot happened, so but he got me where I needed to be. He did his job, you know what I mean? But I survived that. I mean, played football, a whole bunch of stuff, same stuff with that. um, then, just a lot of stuff through high school, just getting into it, getting in the mix with different people, you know what I mean? So, and then in baseball, I got set up. So, I mean, I actually had the whole thing happen with, the first base drill set up, and all that came from Dillis Dawes, the athletic director at the time of UT. I got set up by him. I survived that. So it's and then you had the setup on Michael Dell's field too that I think comes from Carly Fiorino allegedly, right? So that's more. just a lot of stuff affiliated with my head and my mouth. It's always been like that's the go-to to try to, I guess, silence someone. But what they didn't count on and realize is how tough I was. Just like, the Michael Dillfield setup. I mean, the guy had 50 yards to run. I was standing in one spot and I didn't even budge. And he was behind me about 10 to 15 feet and he was crying, and I was standing and I mean, I was in horrible shape, but I was standing like a man and wasn't even phased. Like people don't get I'm built like a rock, like God's rock, you know what I mean? So it's like there's something a lot tougher to me than, normal human beings, normal people. I'm that guy for real, you know what I mean? So, I'm just like something out of the past, out of a movie, you know what I mean? People don't seem to understand. That's why I don't fear anything because I truly feel like no matter what somebody tries to do to me, I'm going to survive it and get through it. That's what I count on. I truly believe that. You know what I mean? It don't matter what you do. I just feel like at the end of the day, God got me. I really believe that. You know what I mean? So I just see it all, man. I see that I have all the momentum. I just try to be smart, man. I try to make wise decisions. The fact is that you have to live life the way you want, man. I mean, you have to live life for you. You can't live for other people, and that's the number one thing I learned. And I just think it's good that I'm becoming a symbol of inspiration, whether it be for the youth or whoever, or for grown adults. It's just good that I'm becoming a symbol of inspiration for people, and that's a big part of what it is. That's why I truly believe in the League of Shadows. I think it's a real thing that, I just believe in it. I think I am it. I think that it just means, actually getting things done the right way that need to be done in society to protect people. And that's what this is all about. And it's everything I've done. Like I said, I was shutting down illegal organizations hands on. I shut down cartel operations in my sleep. Like these are real things I did and come from, and, like I said, it just things that happened in my life. It wasn't something I chose. It's just God put me in the right place at the right time, and he always does. I've saved a lot of people. I've taken care of a lot of people. Some of them ungrateful, but I still took care of them. I helped a lot of people in my life. I'm an earth angel, man. I know I'm an angel. So, I just do my job on this planet. You know, that's the whole thing. Like, you come for an angel, bro. You better understand you going against God, and God's going to come for you. And that's what's happening right now. All my predictions, like I said, they continue to ring true more and more every day. It's just God setting example after example after example, and it's about to pick up pace even more. Don't worry. Um, I mean, and like I said, this has nothing to do with me. It's nothing with me. It's not personal. It's not coming from me. It's personal because you people made it personal. So God is going to treat you like it's a personal issue because God's going to protect me and ride for me and ride on anybody all day. I'm telling you right now, he ain't going to play no games about me. You know what I mean? So, like I said, y'all don't seem to get the point. Like, bro, my life's not in my hands. Nothing is in my hands. I'm in God's hands. Just like Tupac said. You know what I mean? That's the thing that saddens me the most, man. That he said that, and then all that stuff happened, and you just wonder why. I guess maybe if it was part of God's plan. It's one of the hardest things for me to understand or ever want to accept. I don't almost don't have it in me to accept that, but I guess we have to accept certain things. You know what I mean? But I've had friends who, have gone through crazy stuff like that and they said the same thing, it's God's will. I mean, that it does make sense, and like I said, Pac was here to inspire a lot of people, but I think specifically to inspire me in my mind because I came up studying Tupac. I came up studying his music. I think we have a lot in common with the way we think, and that's what a lot of my stuff is on. Is like I said, like I'm a white boy, but I'm like a real street thug and an actual real gangster in the flesh, and that's what I come from. I don't come from your normal society. I come from a walk of life that none of you would be able to fathom or comprehend. We were moving a lot differently than any regular civilian my entire life. I'm just being honest. We were never the same. You know what I mean? So it's like I just feel so lucky. I feel lucky to have the opportunity to do all of these things because I know in my mind I'm not supposed to even be here. I know in my mind I wasn't supposed to get this far. I know in my mind that I'm just very blessed, that it's not about luck, but that I've been very blessed. I've always made the right decisions and done the right thing for myself, but I've been in a lot of crazy, wild situations, man, and God pulled me through all of it. That's what it says. It says I got Saint Michael protecting me, and oh, that he's defended me and protected me in situations I didn't even know he did, where all sorts of stuff could have happened, and that makes a lot of sense to me. You know, so I don't, I don't know. They tell me every day that I'm divinely protected. You know, but it is what it is. Um, so I don't know. Right now I'm in some pain. Like I said, I don't know what's going on or what, but at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to win or lose anything with anybody. Um, don't have no back and forths on YouTube. I mean, it's the same thing every day for me, man. Like I said, I don't know what these people's deal is on here. You still got that individual continues. I mean, it's just they're monotonous, bro. I mean, every single 5 seconds they keep on finding a video to comment on. Like, I'm not reading your comments, dude. That's all they do. They be repetitive and then they claim they're doing something to me. You're not doing anything to me. It's just weird. Like, that's all you do. You just try to keep repeating yourself. Like, what? Bro, let me explain something to you, homeboy, or whoever you are, right? And I already have an idea, right? I just don't care because y'all don't exist and you don't have an identity. You're not accomplishing anything. You're just doing it to yourself. And every time that you keep leaving comments on my videos when you know you're not supposed to be on this channel and you're jealous of my business, you're just creating karmic debt. And He's going to ride every time. Every time you type a letter and put your finger on a keyboard as a coward, God is going to ride. And that's what keeps happening. I told you all my predictions of what was going to happen, not just this year, but the entire future. And it's happening right in front of your face. We had more examples come out today. I told y'all everything that was happening, bro. So it's like, I think that's why they do it, because they think that they're trying to look for a way to get some kind of reaction or to get me to slip up and do or say something wrong. Like, it would never happen because I don't even know who you are who's doing that. Like I said, I'm not going to see anything you're saying. We will never speak. I stand on that. I told you I wasn't playing about that. Like, that doesn't turn into some game that you can prove me wrong. No, I'll never see anything y'all type, bro. Just like I told you, I promise you. See, I'm a man of my word. So, like I said, why does everything have to be turned into some kind of weird, fake little mini competition that you can win? As far as I'm concerned, I'm not trying to win anything. You can have her, bro. It's just pettiness, man. It's just weird. Like I said, this person has nothing going for them, so they're spending their time going to every video that has a comment section still available, knowing that if I could just block them all the comment sections I would have. But YouTube enables this stuff, and that's why we're taking them to court and filing a huge lawsuit, and they're gonna have to pay me millions of dollars. So the more you do this stuff, I mean, like I said, this is all documentation for court. It doesn't matter what happens with the channel, with the business, nothing. It's all documented, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know who would do that. You could tell they're not in their right mind, and that's as far as it goes for me. I don't care what you do. What other people do doesn't affect me or my mood. You feel me? You want to be repetitive? Okay, go ahead. That sounds like some sheep stuff to me. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a sheep move from a sheep. You feel me? So, like I said, go ahead and bay and do what you do. I don't really care. But just understand, like I said, the way I look at it, you're doing me a favor because you're just helping me clean up the channel. Because pretty soon you're not going to have any comment sections to type nothing in. And that's what I want. So, the more you do it, it's actually helping me. Like, you hear me loud and clear. I say things one time, that's the end of it. That's the end of the conversation, the end of the issue. It's been resolved. You're not going to get a word that you type again that I will see, because you're trying to inflict something. What you're doing is evil and vile and disgusting, and it's some coward stuff, bro. You're not tough for what you're doing, bro. So understand something. You ain't doing nothing to me, and you never will. Just like I told you, you're doing it to yourself. And God is seeing that you're trying to come at me some way, right? And God's gonna ride every time, bro. Like I said, enjoy that, have fun with that. Straight up, bro. Hold your L. You feel me? Because you're gonna take an L every time that, yeah, like, I've just never met people that do this. And I'm sure I have, but I just don't know that they like that, and I don't care. I don't have no respect for it or tolerance for it, bro. We don't tolerate Satan. Why are you gonna put your fingers on a keyboard, bro, knowing that you're a whole human being? He's a coward. That's some coward stuff, bro. That's like the type of people that go to jail and prison and they be mopping the floor. Use a herb, like Maserati Fox said. I laugh at people like you, homie. You feel me? But do what you do. Like I said, it's just mad petty and it's weird and it's disturbing. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, man. They want to act like, nah, bro. I'm here to deal with the real jokers in the world. There's people a lot worse than y'all. Trust me, bro. A lot worse and a lot realer. Trust me. There's some real jokers running around. There's a lot of evil going on and stuff that I need to stop. and I'm just trying to be patient and wait for God to bless me and give me this budget and this money to do it. Every reading has come true. The readings already said what it is. They said it's not gonna make sense. It said it's gonna come out of nowhere, and people are like, all y'all's jaws are about to drop at what God is gonna do in my life. I can guarantee it. Because every time for all these years, every reading has been right. So that one's got to be right. It's all happened 100% exactly the way it says. I'm reading you the script. I'm putting it on the community wall. All y'all got to do is pay attention. I'm a prophet. I'm telling you, God is about to transform my life, man. It's about to happen. It's going to happen like right now. It's coming. I can feel it. And it's going to be such a catastrophic change. Like, I think that literally just my whole life is going to change in the blink of an eye in a crazy positive good way. And I just think I'm gonna have so much money and just everything going for me. And I think that's what's gonna happen. Jaws are gonna drop. And I mean that's why I stay true and I stay devoted to this, like even if that wasn't guaranteed to me, I would still do what I'm doing. That's the thing. To me, what they told me, and this is where I was already at, I'm already ahead of the readings. The readings usually tell me after I've already figured something out. Sometimes no, though. Sometimes they're actually telling me something I need to learn. They're very useful. But my point is, it already said all that. Like it said that you're going to get to the point spiritually where it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have, what you get, because you just believe in God and understand that things are going to be okay. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at with it. Like I've let go. I'm surrendered to the divine. Whatever the divine wants to do, I'm at their mercy and their will. That's just what it is. That means with everything. With my life is in the divine's hands. It's in God's hands. Nothing is in my hands. Not that or not anything. I'm in God's hands, bro. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't even be able to talk to y'all. I wouldn't have made it this far. That's the truth. It's a sad truth. I'd like it to change. I really want to be around Christina. It's hard for me being on my own, not being able to talk to, you know, uh, more people and talk to Christina. That's the main thing. But I hope that that changes. There's a lot that I want to change more than anything. You know what I mean? My life's been hard, man, and I don't deserve to go through any of this or be treated this way or have to just any of this. I don't deserve to live like this. I don't. I deserve to have everything I want and everything I need and be good and that's it. I love my life. I'm happy, but just things could be a lot better. You know what I mean? I could have a lot more money. I could have a lot more going for me. And like I've been in positions where I had a lot, but I was still missing something, and I really know that that's Christina, that's what I was missing. So I just want to be with my girlfriend, bro. That's all I really care about. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think God's gonna do it, man. I don't doubt it for a minute. I don't even. I just know, man. I don't even think I know. I see it coming. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's another prediction, but every prediction I made has been right. So just keep that in mind. I don't claim to have all the answers, but when it comes to like philosophical and intelligence, yeah, I have all the answers. I'm a genius, bro. I don't have all the answers in life. Like I said, the only reason I'm here is because of God. God got me, and God just refuses to let go of me. I'm a tool for God. I do God's will. I'm a soldier for God. That's the truth. You know what I mean? It's just clear as day. The truth is, I'm a warrior for God, and that's what I've been my entire life. So, like I said, I got to do what I got to do either way. But that's why I'm glad it inspires people. You know what I mean? Like I said, most people they wake up, they go to a 9 to 5 job. I do this. This is my career, and it's not just talking. I mean, I'm a warrior for God, and I do my training, and I do the real thing. And everything I've done as Batman has been real. It's all real, bro. I was never a poser. I was never someone who faked it till they made it. Like, no, I'm someone who I'm real as hell, and people know it. Like, that's the coolest thing. I really want to give a shout out, man, to just the people, any of y'all, man, if it be whether it be, I don't care. Y'all know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking to, man. Just shout out to all the people who actually held me down and were human about things and understood, like looked at me and like, they didn't have to be so courteous and kind of nice, and they were like gave me some leeway and said, no, that's Tyree Sneed. Like I know who he is. Like I you know what I mean? Like he's good. You know what I mean? Like let him handle his business and do what he needs to do. Because at this point, I kind of realized that people did that for me, and that was really nice of them. Like that was a God sent thing. So I just want to say thank you. You know what I mean? Because that's really truly what happened and how I feel. I've had people do me favors at times, I didn't think they would do me favors, and I could never understand why at the time. And now I look back at it and I'm like, that's God. It's got God written all over it. You know what I mean? I got the favor of God upon me in my life. I'm trying not to cry because I'm tearing up, but it's truth, man. I got an anointing over me in my life, but I'm here, like I said, I'm just having a human experience and trying to do the best I can, you know, hanging in there, like I said, I want things to get better, man. I want major change, man. I'm just a human being, bro. I'm not anyone or anything else, but it's been a long time coming for me, man. I've been through so much. It's just unbelievable. I don't think anyone would understand, you know. I'm tearing up, so don't mind me. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I'm just glad that I can encourage, people. I'm glad that people are getting and gaining something from my message and of what I'm doing. Um, it's the main thing, man. I'm glad that I'm having an impact, man. That's what I did all this for. Everything I always do is to basically save the world. People have even been around me who are like evil, and they would say it like in a spiteful sense, but they would point it out and say it like, you don't always have to carry the whole world on your back. I've been like a superhero my whole life, man. It's just I was giving all my energy and and love and care and being there for people to the wrong people. That's not my fault. It's just how I work. And like I said, it has to do with the big conspiracy and the big plan because that just came out in the reading too. What all these evil people are doing is laid out clear as day in these readings. I mean, there's readers who are laying it all out about how they target people like me, how all these relationships were fake, how it was all sent to try to stop me. And when they're basically when they're getting with you, it's so that they can do their witchcraft and do all their insane stuff. They do it through food as well. Like, I pretty much know most of all your tactics. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm just glad that I got educated on this stuff, and God educated me on it and started showing me the truth of what happened to me. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, I'm actually a victim and everything. I'm an innocent victim. I'm truly innocent. I've been innocent since day one, and I'm a victim. It's just I've never been comfortable being a victim, but this is a situation where I'm a victim because it was all out of my control and I didn't understand what was happening. You know what I'm saying? So at least I'm man enough to admit when I'm a victim because I never have been really before because I would never would allow it. In this case, it wasn't in my control. So truth is, I'm the victim and everything. I have been several times, and I mean a lot of times, really, in for a long time. Just not in the sense that other people usually are or would try to turn it into or talk about. Against everybody, I stood up to everyone I won. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It is what it is, man. It's life. I look at it like it's part of life, but I'm just glad I can inspire people truly, man. It really, really makes me happy, man. I don't know, it's kind of surreal. I can't believe it. The whole all of this, it feels like a dream. It's pretty cool. You know, I think people assume that I think some other way I don't, or I'm like them. I'm me, man. I'm a human being, bro. I'm a good dude, man. I just try to help everybody. I just try to bring good to the world. And I've seen enough good people go through horrible things, and people try to do whatever and come for them, and I'm just not the one. I'm not going for none of them games, and I'm not doing that. You ain't going to do me like none of these people. I'm just telling you right now. I'm not Tupac. I ain't Biggie. I'm Tyree Sneed. You understand? So I ain't playing around about nothing. I'm me, and I'm standing my ground 10 toes down. You feel me? Like, I worked too hard to get to this point. Ain't nothing going, period. Nothing. Ain't nothing going at all. You feel me? So it's like, it's crazy that, people are so petty. And like I said, you got a new jealous dude that comes out the woodwork every day, and I have to put them in their place verbally on here. And I mean, everybody knows that I'll put anybody in their place verbally in person too, to their face. All you got to do is mouth off and say something wrong, and I'm going to tell you what it really is and how I really feel about you and who you really are in the world. But people don't want to do that. Everybody's a coward, man. You feel me? Like, my whole deal is just, it is what it is, man. As much as I'm dealing with all these little haters and stuff and cowards and stuff, I'm realizing there's so many people outside of that who are showing mad love. You know what I mean? The love outweighs the fear. That's the truth. So that's what matters at the end of the day. You know, truthfully, that's what matters. That's all that matters. So I try to focus on that. You know what I mean? I just wish people would show some love and support through the finances, but I feel like God is going to do it for me, man. I really do. I've never needed anyone or anything really. God has always delivered for me, you know. So I try to have faith, you know what I mean? Just like it said, you know, where's your bravery? I mean, I've proved everything, man, but I still listen, you know, my bravery has never gone anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, where's your faith? My faith has been tested a million times, and every time I prove myself, you know. So it's like this been going on for a minute, but it hasn't been that long, you know. So it is what it is. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm just doing me, man. You know, my vested interest has never been money in this. My vested interest is the purpose behind it. You know, I get too much done and I've accomplished too much. I've protected too many people. I've saved too many lives. I've helped too many people. I've just I've accomplished so much. I've stopped too much like I've stopped too much evil, man. I've stopped too many bad people and too much evil, you know, for me to really focus on money and stuff. You know, like I said, I've God produces my budget, even if it's a small budget right now, and I use the resources God gives me, and I go to work and do what I need to do. You know, that's the thing. I'm kind of like that guy in that movie American Gangster, not necessarily Denzel or Frank Lucas, but I'm kind of like the other guy. You know what I mean? Because he was so honest. He found all that money in that car, remember, and he gave the money back. That's kind of how I am. Like I'm in this for the loyalty of it. I'm in this for the mission. I'm in this, you know, because this is what I'm born to do and what I want to do. I'm not in this for greed. I'm not in this for anything else, man. I'm in this for God and to do God's will and do the right thing because that's the type of person I am. I'm a good dude to the core. I ain't trying to look no way. I don't try to make things look some way on the outside and they're way different on the inside. I'm not you narcs, man. I'm an open book, bro. What you see is what you get, homie. You feel me? That's why, like, I tell people what it is straight up. You know, like I said, I'm just glad that people respect it. Like I said, you know, I've grown, I've evolved. I'm getting older too, so it's just, you know, for me, it's awkward for me because for me personally, I feel so young. Like, not saying necessarily physically what I go through and all that, but even that kind of. But I mean, a lot's happened to me, man. I've been through a lot, but you know, I still feel young, like young in my heart. Like you know, aging for me has been a weird thing because I don't feel like I've aged. Like it's like I'm aging backwards, bro. I look younger every day. It's weird as hell, bro. It'd be tripping me out, like straight up, bro. Like I'm on some different stuff. I don't know what's up. Like it's crazy, bro. It really is surreal. It's cool, but it's surreal. It's just hard to believe. You know what I mean? So you understand? I'm seeing it out of my own eyes. It's like watching a movie. You know, it's a cool movie though. I'll give you that much. My life is a great movie, man. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a movie about me if you want to be realistic. And you know, I guess I made a good decision that I'm able to paint stories. You know, I'm an artist, I'm an MC, I'm a rapper. I paint stories through my music, and I was able to paint a story through this social media stuff, and it's working. You know, people, you know, you got to understand. You're watching my whole journey. You know, my vision is to have that journey get to the point where I'm Batman within the right suit that I want to build and have all the right technology and doing the real missions and the real things in the street. And I want people to see me literally hands on doing the real thing. I want people to see the reality of the street and how grimy it is and how dark it is and all the dark corners of this world. Like I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm trying to go straight into everything and get in the mix. That's the thing. My bravery hasn't gone anywhere. My bravery is right here. I'm ready to go, bro. I just need the money. That's all. I need the budget. I need the money, and that's it. And that's the crazy thing about me, man. Is when I get a whole bunch of money, I'm just so much different than your average yuppie or snob or typical person, especially people of my culture or my group or my people. You know, most of them when they get money, they be going to all the the cute stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm not going to do that. I am going to do that, but I'm going to do that for Christina and I'm going to do it for myself, you know, because it's about self-preservation. But what I'm saying is when it comes to the Batman thing has to be done in all the bad areas. It's got to be done in the ghettos. It's got to be done in these under these bridges and these street corners. Like you're talking about going to Dallas, bro, and being Batman in Dallas. I mean, you're talking about you're taking a street thug, me, and you're putting him in a suit that's like bulletproof and protective and is supposed to protect from all that stuff of anything anybody can have on him, right? And you're putting me in the middle of all this, like, and this is something I'm willingly doing. That's the truth. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's say what it is and what we're doing. You feel me? And you're basically putting me out there in the street as a soldier to hold my own, hopefully create and preserve some peace, but to protect and to, make sure that nobody's not on no nonsense. You know what I mean? Because I'm tell you straight up, bro. Anybody on nonsense, like it's easy for me. I pull cards like as a hobby, bro. I stay pulling cards, and people know on here. So it's like I didn't come to play, bro. Like, trust me, bro. The minute God gives me this budget and this money to work with, I'm just saying I'm so much different and programmed so much different because y'all run away from the hood and the ghetto. Y'all run away from the street element. And as Batman, I have to run to it. And that's how I've always been, man. Like in Tarpon Springs, I lived on the nice side in Florida, and I'd always go to the hood and the ghetto. I'm not saying that I'm like, I just want Christina to know I'm not going to have you in those circumstances. Like, we're going to always be in good predicaments, like, I'm like my girlfriend, I'm going to always take care of and have in the best situation and the good side of town. You know what I mean? Like with the snobs and the yuppies. Like, I'm talking about as far as being Batman, you have to go into the element. I mean, you like he said in the movie. Well, what does he say? uh, Hold on, we got somebody overcompensating again. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Why do they do that, bro? It makes them look horrible. What he said, he said, like, in the madness, there's the element. That element is what I know and understand perfectly because I've just dealt with it so long. It's like you all look at it. How do I explain it, bro? It's like when I was young and I was in jail. Like I used to look at dudes and honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, man. I just thought it was a beautiful thing. I thought that gangsters and thugs were a beautiful thing. I think human life, period, is a beautiful thing. I think pain and suffering is a beautiful thing. I just see the world with a beautiful lens that God gave me. I got a beautiful mind, man, and just everything is beautiful in my eyes. I think much more beautiful than most humans. I think that's why people don't understand me because I'm looking through the eyes of an angel. Like I said, I'm an angel. I know what I am, bro. There's no doubt in my mind what I am, bro, because I've always been like that. That's why people can't understand me because, like, I'm kind of like dreamy in my thoughts. Like, it's hard to explain to you because I think that I'm just surreal. You know what I mean? I think that I've been like that my whole life. You know what I mean? So it's hard to explain to you, but where was I? I'm just saying, bro. That's the main element, bro. I'm trying to get. I mean, let's just get real, bro. Batman is gonna go straight into action. There's gonna be some action. Don't worry. You gonna see some action on this channel the minute that we get this money. It's just what I'm trying to say is whatever I have to do for Christina, I'm going to do. So, like, I have to make sure that she's happy, that she's comfortable with everything, and that she knows what I'm doing. She has a lot of faith. She has faith in God. She has faith in me. I think we'll have a conversation about it and talk about it. And I think she really cares about me. You know what I mean? So she's just going to worry. I know that, you know what I mean? And I just don't want her to be worrying. So, like, if it gets to where it's ever a problem, I'll just stop the Batman thing straight up because Christina comes first and she's worth everything to me. And I'll drop the Batman thing at the drop of a dime for her. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? So I just want her to know that. You know what I mean? But I don't think that I know that's not the way it's going to go. Like she supports what I do. She wants me to do what I do. You know what I mean? She wants me to be happy. But I just think God is going to give me my purpose. I think God is going to, how to explain it? I don't know. I just in my mind right now when I'm thinking that quickly, it's like God gives me the thoughts already. Believe it or not, like He talks to me, man. I kind of know my purpose already. I know my purpose. A lot of my purpose, I think, is to protect the youth, and like I said, probably to rescue people who've been, like who go through these things. Like when the Amber Alerts come out, I think I'm supposed to maybe build an agency where I'm able to actually respond to those and save people, something like that as Batman. Like it's going to be as Batman, So God will show me the way. I'm not too worried about it, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, as far as the street element, like that's the thing. Like when you really think about it, if you put it in perspective, right? Like when you have the kind of power I have just as a human being, see, it ain't about money because I got the power and like this is my broke hustle right now. You know what I mean? I like so if I'm supposedly so broke or whatever, that's fine. I'll take that. I'll hold that. So it's like if I'm broke, how do I still have this kind of power and I'm able to do all this? You know what I'm saying? Like my whole point is, it doesn't really have to do about money, but my point is when you have the kind of power I have as a human being and as a vessel for God, If you look at these cities and you look at these states, right? You're going to examine, you're going to analyze these cities, you're going to look at things at a street level, right? It don't make that much sense for me. It does a little bit, but like that's what people think. They think like, oh, so you just go out in the street and you go up against crime and criminals. Well, how can you assume that people in the street are criminals? I'm not a bully. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't just go take it out on random people in the street. No, that's not who I am or what I do. Hell no. That's never been who I am. If anything, I talk to them and I try to help them. I care about people in the street, even if they're a thug or a gangster or whatever. That doesn't mean, see, that's the problem with the world. Y'all be looking at tough people and you think they deserve to go through hell. Like, no, they don't. They're a human being. Y'all need to learn how to treat human beings with compassion. Doesn't matter who they are. If they're down on their luck, who they are, that's what life about. You know what I mean? So like, the thing is you send me out in these streets, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get along with dudes. I wouldn't care if they was mad as hell and yelling and screaming and wilding out and doing crazy stuff. I could talk them down. And I think that's part of what I'm supposed to do is bring peace, and help people. It's just that that's why I got that protective suit on because it's I gotta, like have some protection and be protected while I'm out in these streets doing this and politicking with these people who, clearly it's not the best situation all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, thinking about it, looking at the perspective, I just think that what it's going to do is God's going to put me in the right places at the right times to stop things that are in active progress that people are doing that are criminals, yes, that basically, they're not criminals until they do something criminal, right? I'm saying I think God's going to put me in the right situations as a civilian, as a person, as Batman to stop people from doing crazy stuff. That's what I think, the right way. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be like bar security just on a higher level and in the plane is the world. That was the whole thing is I'm taking all of what I've done in the past and the element and I'm putting it into let's just do it for the whole world. I've heard, like I said, Deuce was talking about that back in the day, talking about basically I'm Batman. Like, no, you want to be Batman. And the guy who worked next door to you actually is Batman. That's why, like I told you, I was a way better bouncer than you. Like, dude, I did everything, bro. Like, I'm the tough guy, not you. You just go post fake stuff on Facebook. It's corny. But, shout out to him either way. Much love. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I wish you the best. But, my whole deal is this is the reality of the situation, right? So, like I said, I'm just saying, like, I think what's going to happen is I'm just going to be at the right place at the right time for a lot of things, and I think I'm going to be able to do things that help. And that's the point is everything is situational, and I think that I'm just going to be interjected by God into a lot of different situations. Some of them in the street, some of them regarding all sorts of stuff that people are doing. And yeah, I think that as Batman, I'm pretty sure I'm not pretty sure. I'm positive I can stop a lot. Okay, and all the right way too, and legally, like by the book, doing everything the right way. So I think that's what a lot of it has to do with. But I think the main thing is to rescue people. That's what I think. I think 100% that's what I'm here to do, and I think it's mainly to rescue and just protect people and to save lives. So like I said, I mean that's the thing. It's kind of like special ops without being special ops. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I'm not going to be part of any organization necessarily. I'm not going to have to. I don't need anybody's permission. I don't need licensing to save people and save humanity and save the world and save lives. I just have to be Batman. That's what y'all don't get is like that's the whole beauty of it is like God will steer me the right direction. He'll show me the whole path and the whole way. But you might really get some scenes. I don't know if it'll make the news at some point. I have no idea, bro. I don't know what God holds in the future, but you may see some cool, crazy stuff. Like I said, Batman may make the news and stuff because like it'll get public attention, bro. If I get in the middle of some serious stuff. You know what I mean? And if they have cameras rolling on something and that's not my intention, or I'm not trying to get attention or garner fame that way, or just like I didn't on here, it just happened. But, I just think that that's going to happen at some point because, like I said, when these incidents happen and things happen and people start saying, no, there was a Batman and he showed up and he came here and then I've got everything on video because I'm going to have a GoPro camera on my chest and my back, right? I might even have like someone else around filming. I don't know. I got to see how I'm going to do it. You know, what I mean, all I know is I'm never going to have Christina in the way of anything going on because I want her safe and good. She can be back wherever, like at our home that we're going to get together, or in a hotel if we're in a city or whatever, in a different city and state, whatever. Like, I'm gonna have Christina taken care of completely. That's first priority. You know what I mean? So, like I said, that's all I'm worried about, man. Just Christina, man. I'm still worried about you. I pray for you. I love you. I care about you more than anything, and that's just the truth. And I really miss you a lot. I haven't been able to talk to her much. She said she hasn't been feeling well. Um, but she's my only priority, man. Everything else comes second. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be spending all my time with her first, and then, well, I don't know what that is, man. It's been doing it like, bro, what the hell is that thing? What the hell? That's something. I don't know what I see him, but what the hell is it? It's a noisy little badger. I wonder if it's a possum or a raccoon or something. I don't know. Anyway, my whole point is, um, how do I put this? Everything is Christina first. You know what I mean? Basically, she's just always comes first. I'm gonna sit down and talk with her in person, and we're gonna spend all our time together. We're gonna have like a pre-honeymoon. We're gonna have like a whole honeymoon. We're gonna end up getting married and having an extravagant wedding if I have my way. And at the end of the day, that's just where my focus is on. And like I said, at some point I'll sit down and talk with her about it, and we'll go about starting the Batman thing, but it'll be together. So like I said, we're going to be creating and building it all together. So if she wants to have two GoPro cameras on me that are open with live feeds, then that's what I want to do. Like that's exactly what we'll do, because she has to be able to see for me, because anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like what if I need help? You know what I mean? Like it's just the reality of it. She's gonna be like my eyes for me. I swear to you, a bat just flew by me. I'm not even joking. I told you there's a bat, bro. Y'all think I'm playing, bro. There's a bat. He just flew right in front of me. That ain't no bird, bro. Isn't that crazy, bro? That's crazy, son. I'm not joking, bro. Bat just flew right in front of me. A bat. They don't even have bats like that, bro. And it's kind of scary, to be honest, bro. I really am kind of scared of bats. Batman was scared of bats. I'm scared that it's gonna like crawl on me. You just never know what they might have. But I mean, I think it would look like a bat. I've seen a bat, bro. Like I promise you, like 100%. And it's just crazy because it has to be like the only bat like in the valley. Like there's like no other bats. Like isn't that crazy? Like I'm telling you, I got picked by God to do this, man. It's surreal to me, man. I guess that was a sign right there. Like this is your calling. But Christina's all for it. I'm just saying, that's going to be the hard thing, but that's where we both have to have faith. I'm saying it's going to be hard, seeing me in the street and have to whatever I get into and just having to go at it and do what I got to do. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I said, that's part of it. It really is. It's part of it. And y'all don't understand that I have a passion for this stuff, man. Like I honestly I love conflict. I mean, I really do. I love it. I live for it. And I'm just built differently, and that's what Batman is. Batman is built. There's another one overcompensating. You're never gonna get anywhere like that, Billy. But yeah, like I said, it's what I live for, man. Like I'm exactly the way the movie portrays when he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Like it's exactly like that, because you just have some dudes, that a lot of I've seen a ton of people that try to fake it, like they're a tough guy. I've always been tougher than the toughest tough guy. I'm just being honest. Like this is something I really am. That's what people don't get, because they look at me and they're like, "Well, he's thin, he's skinny, he doesn't look like that much." So they underestimate me. Like, no, you don't get it, bro. Like I'm the epitome of all that, bro. I always have been. You know what I mean? People meet me. I'm sure they look at me like, "Man, he's not even that big of a guy," and like, there's no way he's really Batman. Like, no, I'm it. You know what I mean? it ain't about big. Like I said, you see these videos, you can see how ripped I am. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But Bruce Lee was super thin. He was very wiry. He was very frail, but he was extremely strong, so he wasn't frail. You know what I mean? He was just skinny. But my whole point is I don't care what people think, but reality is there ain't nobody built like me, and I have a passion for it. Like, it's just like every man has to have his man time. There's nothing wrong with it. I want Christina with me for my man time, and that's the point. My man time is going to be being Batman, and it's just something I have to do. It's not that I have to do it, but it's something that will help me. It's therapeutic for me too. It's good for my health because I can get out all my anger and frustration and get it out of my system. I mean, it makes sense. Why do you think Batman did what he did? In the street. I mean, yeah, he's clearly taking out his anger and frustration. You know what I mean? And it's like that's why they say they're like, I don't think he wants to talk to us. And then they say, God help whoever he does want to talk to. That's me. That's me 100%. That's me written all over it. Like just when Batman's on a tirade, like nobody wants to get near him. You know what I mean? That's literally how it is with me. And the worst part is I'm in control of my emotions and in control of my mind and my thinking of what I'm doing. Like that's what sets me aside from the average human being. I know how to think from a higher perspective. I'm not thinking from a perspective of, oh, I'm just a human and I'm out of control and I'm wild. Just like I don't even drink, right? I haven't had an alcoholic drink in I don't even know. It's probably been years now. Right. I don't touch that other stuff, anything crazy. I don't never got near it, never had that problem ever in my life, which is a good thing, right? Even Raul told me that was a good thing. So I mean I appreciated him saying that. You know, some people, I think people just can't help it. Like I was talking to him about it. Some people just have addictive behaviors, but me, I've just never had that problem. My dad just conditioned me. He was very rough on me. I didn't have the luxury to have that issue at all because it was clear what would have happened to me. My dad was a big guy. So yeah, I didn't play around about that at all. Um, hold up. But yeah, the whole point is, I mean, I just think that honestly, I just picture how it's going to be already. A lot of it has to do with my aura and my presence. I mean, it's different when you just have a guy who drives a car somewhere and rolls up right on the block, right? It's a lot different when you got a guy in an all-out bat suit that's Batman and he pulls up in like a drop top Batmobile on the block. Like, let's say I pull up in like Hollywood or pull up in like Philly on like a hood ghetto block. Like, these are the things that I'm going to be doing, right? So I pull up and I'm Batman. Like it draws and elicits a different response from people when they see an actual Batman that looks scary as hell, like downright terrifying, get out of the car and walk the way I walk. I already walk with like a thug demeanor, okay? And walk up and like you probably aren't even going to be able to see who I am, honestly. That's just the truth because like I said, I'm planning on building like a cage face mask probably. So you're not going to be able to know who I am. I'm impossible to ID, right? And this is what I do for a living. Like this is the future of Batman and what the whole thing is what I'm building, right? So I'm going to be in the street doing the real thing, being Batman, right? And it doesn't mean like it's a bunch of nonsense. Like no, I'm not going to just like start issues or trouble, not at all. I'm there to help people. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying like that element is always there. It's the same way I walk around in the street every day as who I am. It's the same exact thing, but it's just as Batman. And it just is a different response because like let's say I pull up to a block in Philly and all them dudes, half them dudes, let's get real about how they feel. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying about like certain people, right? They not gonna pull that stunt with me because Batman gonna pull right up and be like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? Except I'm gonna be talking like this. You know what I mean? So like people are going to be like perplexed. They're like, people are going to be thrown back. Like all that hood ghetto stuff, it goes out the window real quick because people, when you out crazy the crazy, people look at it as mystifying. And I'm the only person who has the gift to do that because I really am built like that. I'm not crazy. I'm perfectly sane and I'm a genius, but I'm just so smart and intelligent. I know how to use it and harness it. I do the same thing with ignorance. Hmm. Straight up. I'm just a genius, bro. No, I'm not crazy at all. I'm completely good and in my right mind. I'm solid as hell. It's clear as day. That's why when y'all say the things you say projecting, it's just silly. These people had already said in the reading, like, they want to bring you down any way possible. You can't bring me down. You're just gonna have to sit there and take it and put up with it like you have your entire existence. All you do is put up with it from everyone, not just me. So I mean, get over it. You're the people who are weak and you allow people to manipulate you. We don't have a connection. We don't have nothing. So what are you acting like we're connected for, or y'all are talking to me? I don't know you. You're just some stranger on the internet babbling nonsense, rambling, talking to yourself. You know what I mean? You need serious help. That's what they all need. So getting back to topic, Batman is going to be able to change things, man. You know what I mean? There's situations like that going on in New York right now, like you know what I mean, like a white boy and he getting like chased down the block and all that stuff. Well, what if Batman pulls up? See, it's all cute when y'all post your little stuff on Facebook. I'm not offended or nothing. Things happen, you know what I mean? If anything, I felt like they kind of took it easy on dude. You know what I mean? Except when they run their mouth and say things they not about and write checks they can't cash. But the whole point is if Batman pulls up when something like that happens, the whole energy changes because now you got five dudes on one block and you just have Batman by himself and Batman's going to win. Batman's backing everybody down. I'm just telling you the truth. I don't care who it is, bro. Like, you ain't going to be able to back or down or intimidate Batman and you're not going to come up against me and win. You know what I mean? It'd be very difficult to win. You know what I mean? It's never happened yet, and I wasn't even in a bat suit. So I mean, when I'm in a whole bat suit that, like I said, is bulletproof and proof for a lot of stuff, and I got cameras on my front and back, and like Christina's watching everything, the interaction that goes on. The point is, it makes great content for the YouTube channel because guess what? I pull up and they say, "Oh man, yo, sorry, bro. Like we don't want no problems," because that's what's going to happen a lot. I can guarantee you. And then I'm able to usher in peace and say like, yo, like tell them you're sorry. You feel me? Like straight up. And then guess what? That's the right real content that we need in the world of me being me and being a shining light and a beacon of love and positivity, which is what I just am naturally. And that's what we need in the world. See, I'm about interacting with people. I made a business out of interacting with people. So when they're like, he needs to interact with people more. No, I don't. It's all I do. What are you talking about? I'm just kind of isolated. There's not that many people out here. Okay? Like straight up, bro. Like I'm not around that many people most of the time. So I don't know what you're saying. This is a period of alienation for me for a reason. It's about God working on me. You know what I mean? Like I said, when we get into a bigger city, like a major city, then there'll be people around all the time. And that's when you get tired of people. You know what I mean? Like right now, you know, it would be nice to be around more people. I get tired of, you know, not being able to be around people, but, you know, like, or the same people over and over again gets old. You know what I mean? But like I said, I mean, all that's coming. And then I'm sure at that point, I'll be like, man, I'd rather just be left alone, you know? So it is what it is. It's a give and take, you know what I mean? But my whole point is, you know, that's the type of stuff I'm going to be doing, you know, and it's all about trying to spread love and positivity. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, that's the thing. I'm not out there trying to prove I'm tough or trying to prove a point. You know what I mean? We already know what I am and who I am, but I'm me. And that's the deal. Like I've been in every hood, I've been in ghettos, I've been on every block, and I'm able to talk to people and communicate. Even the baddest dudes I'm able to communicate with, and real recognizes real at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And guess what? I'm gonna tell you something else. Fake recognize real too. You know what I mean? So the fake people, they gonna recognize and see what it is too. Thing is, you can't be trusting people like that. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You got to be a good judge of character, and it takes time and it takes going through things. You know, I've had dudes I thought we were cool, and then, like I said, they trying to like put stuff, you know, like in my drinks and stuff or whatever, or you know, or give me something, and like I already know, like I mean, I didn't know at the time like I had dude homeboys I hung out with back in the day and stuff like that happen. Straight up. You know what I mean? That they had put stuff in something or whatever. So it's like, you know, and then I go through what I go through. I survived, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying like stuff like that. I've had stuff like that happen. Yeah. I've woken up after like a night and I just was like, wow. And then like my heart was like constantly beating super fast. I had to recondition myself, started walking, and I had to recondition myself while I was working out there to, you know, try to get back to normal. And I did. I've been through tons of stuff, bro, as a person, as a human, like with my body physically. I've been through insane stuff, bro. You know what I mean? I've been in situations where, I mean, I don't even want to go into it on here because there's rules on here, but I've been in some bad scenarios, bro, that I could have not made it out of for real. And I mean, you know, the things I was facing were just tragic. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm glad I made it this far, man. That's all I really gotta say, you know. But like I said, the whole point is a lot of these street corners, a lot of these dudes in these different cities and states, man, they all think they tough. Like you go to Dallas, it's like that. You know, I know you go to Philly, it's like that. You go to Chicago, it's like that. Chicago is very like street oriented, mob oriented, but like trust me, Chicago is not like they don't have nothing special for Batman. See, the thing that you have to think about is everyone, I don't care how tough you are, where you at, what hood you from, y'all all the same. I already know what you might have, what you got. It ain't nothing special. So like I said, that's why we build the suit so protective. And see, Batman, you know, the fact is Batman has a street element to him, and Batman is just all hands and it's just him, right? And whatever, you know, whatever basically gadgets he has in the Batmobile or whatever he's riding, the Bat Pod or whatever. You know, the point is, ain't nobody got nothing too special for me. They don't. You know, like I said, I could take over Chicago the right way in about 5 seconds. I mean, it's not going to be hard. Real talk. I got to take over the streets. That's what people don't get. But see, that's the thing. I don't take over the streets in a bad sense. I take over the streets and take back my country and do it the right way and help people. You know what I mean? Start creating opportunities for people. Like the whole point is to go into these ghettos and hoods and different communities and help people. It's not to be a bully. It's not to push my weight around. It's not to prove I'm tough. It's to go into these places, just like half the haters on YouTube. And literally, like, I already got people on YouTube, man. I'm already planning and thinking about, and I'm going to talk to Christina about it the minute that she's with me, you know, obviously not right away because these people don't come first. She does, right? These people don't even matter, to be honest, right? She matters. Christina is everything to me, right? So, but I'm saying at some point we'll talk about it and I'll run it by her. And like, I'm already thinking of maybe a few of these people on YouTube showing up and helping them, whether it be if giving them a little bit of money and saying, hey, here you go. This is, you know, so that you can, you know, feed your kids basically so they can eat. You know what I mean? I'm already thinking about that. And like, you know, like I said, it is what it is, man. I've already decided that, you know, some of these people as lost as they are in their belief system and, you know, as crazy as they may be, you know, I don't think that they're all bad. Most of them are on here. I'm talking about basically one person. Like I said, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like with that situation, that person, I kind of want to help them, you know what I mean? Still, I still think that I still think they have a good heart at the end of the day, and I don't want to see them going through what they're going through. So I'm already thinking about that. I got to talk to Christina. I was just going to show up as Batman, figure out, you know, how to do it and show up as Batman and like give them like, you know, like $1,000 or something. And they were talking about something. What was it? They were talking about somewhere they wanted to move. And the place they want to move is somewhere that I like too, that it's a pretty cool place. And I want to take Christina there for sure and check it out. I don't know if we'll live there, but I definitely would like to stay there for a time. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just the food is delicious there. That's the main reason I want to take her there. So like, basically, I heard that you know whatever these people wanted, they want to move there, right? So I'm like, we might do something like that, me and Christina for them. Like, I'll just show up as Batman and surprise them, and they'll be like, "What the hell?" And I'll give them like $1,000, and you know, like I said, here's money, so you know your kids can eat, and like I said, maybe we can help them like move over there to that city that has the amazing food. Like I just want to help people. I want to help families. Like I said, definitely want to help the youth. I want to help everybody. You know what I mean? So that's what I plan to do pretty much. Hold on. So like I don't know. I mean, stuff like that makes me happy, man. I enjoy helping people. You know, that's the thing. I don't live my life based upon trying to get money or being greedy. That's why I don't have money because I gave all my money away to other people. I like helping people. I get gratification out of doing for others. And, you know, that's what God told me. He told me the same thing. He straight up, he said, that's the way the world works, man. The way the world works truly, I think somebody else was saying it one day, but the way the world works truly is whatever you put out, you get back. Whether it's so if it's bad, you're gonna get bad back. If you put out good, you're gonna get good back. That's why it's no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna be blessed and I'm gonna be filthy rich again with cash and everything because I've done everything for everybody and I continue to. You don't have to have money to do good in the world. It ain't about how much money you put out in the world. It's about how much good you put out in the world. So when you're good, pure hearted like me, and all you do is help people and save lives and take care of people, that stuff comes back to you in tenfold, man. Like I said, you got these people like they all nobodies, they not enemies, so-called wannabe enemies, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, right? It really don't matter. But at the end of the day, these people still watch me and still have to look up to me as a role model, and that's the way it should be. I don't know why any of them felt like they could argue with me because they're literally delusional. I mean, you're just wrong, you don't have a point, and that's it. It doesn't take years and years of you being upset. It's just the fact that you don't seem to make any sense and you don't have a valid point. If you don't have a point, just admit you're wrong. That's what all of you need to do. You need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and just say, I'm wrong. Because sometimes you're just wrong. And when it comes to me, all of you are wrong. I ain't been wrong once ever in my life. Straight up, bro. I'm never wrong. It's a gift and a curse. I ain't never been wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I've been wrong sometimes about things, yeah, but like in most instances, I'm not wrong. And if I am wrong, I'll admit it. And even when I'm not wrong, I usually say sorry anyway, but that's something I'm working on not doing. You know what I mean? Because why say sorry if you're not in the wrong? Like that's the thing. Like people who do me wrong want me to apologize to them or act like I'm supposed to. Like for what? Like I'm done doing that. You know what I mean? It was in the readings too, like how I'm giving just basically the you know what to everybody, which is what time it is and what I should do because like just having an attitude of giving back what I get and what I get so much of because like forget all those people, bro. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they do. They want to hate on me. Let them do what they do. They're all irrelevant. They don't matter. That's the truth. They seeing me become a superstar. Like I said, I'm working on this like a project. I do one thing at a time. So my life is being Batman and it's this YouTube stuff. Anything else is not my life right now. It's just like when I was in middle school and my dad talked to the basketball coach and he said, for him right now, this is his life. This basketball stuff, this team, this is his life. And that was true what my dad said. So it's like, this is what we do. I mean, that's how you live life. You do projects one at a time and you focus on things and you compete and you do the best you can. And that's it. You don't sit here and worry about, oh, how much money I got and oh, how much does this person have and what are they doing? That's why y'all do that because you don't have any outlet that's healthy to compete in a healthy way. That's all. You know what I mean? See, that's the reason why I could tell all y'all were raised by so-called women or whatever, or weren't raised at all. Because if you were, you would have had an outlet that was healthy, and it really helps and makes a huge difference. Because my dad always gave me a healthy outlet to have an opportunity, and I'm blessed, and I'm glad he did that for me. That's love. You know what I mean? He always gave me an outlet. I always was practicing baseball, playing baseball, trying to be the best at every sport. So I had a healthy outlet. I think that's half the reason why I don't have all the frustrations and gripes that a lot of these people have. And it's just weird how they try to project them on me when it's like, you all have no reason to be mad at me. There's no one on YouTube who should be mad at me. In fact, every one of these people should be happy every time I come around and talk. And like I said, obviously they're like they have love for me in some sense, whether they're confused or not, because they're constantly watching me. So it's like you can't say, "Oh, blah blah blah," you feel some way about me. No, it's just to you all hate is love. That's just the truth. Like y'all are backwards. You're sick. You know what I mean? But you're still a fan. You're still showing love. It's just your love and adoration comes in the form of of insults and nothing good that nobody would want. And this is why y'all can't succeed in your relationships and nobody wants to be around you. That's all. I realize what it is. I realize it's not personal. It's not personal with any of these people. They may try to make it seem like it is, but it's not. I don't know any of them. You know what I mean? So it's a form of adoration, man. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm always going to be the bigger man and bigger dude, and I'm always outshine everybody, and I'm a win, and I'm gonna make them feel even worse about themselves by the fact that I show them nothing but love and positivity, and try to pick them up instead of putting them down the way they do everybody else. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. When people be sitting there and they do those little things and those underhanded things, that's fine. I just smile at you, smile and laugh, and that's what really, really like they can't handle that inside, man. It's like the worst thing for them because they go, man, he's so much different than me. Like he's so much better of a person than me. Yeah, I am. See, I don't have any reservations about saying I'm better than all of you because I know I am. I'm better than anybody, straight up, other than Christina. The rest of you, oh, I'm better than you. But I'm better than you because of hard work. I'm better than you because of life experience. I'm better than you because I've learned lessons that you refuse to. See, you all have opportunities to learn your lessons. You have opportunities to live right and make a clean living the right way, like I do. But see, instead, you're on here worried about other people, and you don't want to see people like me win. That's sad, man. That's crazy. That means that you're suffering. That means that you have an illness. That's what that is. Because normal people want to see other people do well and win. Other people want to see people happy. I want to see people happy. I don't go to functions and then want people to be unhappy and miserable. If I go to a group function, it's because I want people in that group to hopefully be happy. I mean, if you go to like a play, do you want the whole audience to be sitting there crying or yelling and screaming mad as hell? No. You want them to be happy and calm, and you want to have good high spirits, and you want to watch your play and then leave. That's all. So like I said, it is what it is, man. Like I said, the whole point is, like I said, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm like that dude that, originally was kind of from the suburbs and then went to the hood, and I learned all this stuff. And like I said, I mean, I'm definitely a gangster. I'm definitely a thug. I would never hold back on that. I know what and who I am and what I've done, but that's how I learned. I learned from being in the hood and being in the ghetto. That's the truth. You know what I mean? So my whole point is, I'm not ignorant. I'm highly educated. I'm just somebody who, that's the thing too. I'm an inspiration for people. Like, I mean, it would help a lot of people, man. It help, especially people in my culture, man. Like, y'all don't get out enough, bro. Like, real talk. Like, especially if you raising someone, like, if me when me and Christina have kids, I'm gonna make sure that at least they see real elements, in life. Like, they're gonna have to look at the hood and the ghettos. They're gonna have to see these places. It's not like we're gonna be over there and staying over there or anything, but just they need to see. You have to see reality. You have to see real life to understand how life works, and it's a positive thing. And this is why a lot of these people get caught in predicaments that they shouldn't be in, and then all these bad things happen, like with that football linebacker with that incident at that track meet in Frisco. You see, I think if that specific guy, the linebacker, had been exposed to the hood and the ghetto more, he would have understood how it was. See, I think right there what you had was a clash between the suburbs and the hood. That's what I think that was partially. You understand? And I think that the guy just didn't understand how it works. See, hood rules work totally different, man. Like real talk, like you got like actual like animals in the hood, bro. Like straight up, I'm not painting the guy like he's tough. He's not. He's weak as hell, and that was a coward move. What he did, it was absolutely inexcusable and pathetic. But my point is, he's weak as it gets. He's a joke. But my whole point is, the other dude, the linebacker, he probably has no knowledge. I can tell by how the family talks and the brother talks. They have no knowledge of what the hood and the ghetto is. They have no knowledge of how horrible it is and how erratic it is. And I have all the knowledge because I've been right in it. Matter of fact, I was running it. So I was the boss in the hoods and the ghettos. Okay, I didn't back down to nobody. So it's like just like I didn't in jail in Atlanta or wherever I was at. So my whole deal is it's an element that you have to understand for basic survival. It's something that you want to learn, not because it's a bad or a negative thing. That's the problem with a lot of people in my culture. They shun it away, just like most people live in these gated communities because they're scared, or they're in the Bible thumping belt like Mesquite, Texas, where I had to do petitions and stuff, and I'd have people sitting there and cussing up a storm when I'm trying to do the petitions for the stores for alcohol and stuff for an actual campaign. Like, I've been in a lot of different positions, man. That's what y'all don't get, you know? It is what it is. I've worked a lot of different jobs, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. People need to be well rounded. They need to be exposed to some of this stuff a little bit in a healthy manner, in a healthy way. And you just got to understand, you can't live life afraid. You can't be afraid of the hood and the ghetto. That's the whole problem of why these things happen, because people don't have any exposure to how ignorant things are. See, and this is the issue of why some people are get upset or have anger or frustration. And I have my own with the world, because you all don't seem to understand. I got basically like thrown in the wild. Okay, I mean, I've had to literally go through these hoods. I mean, I was in Bankhead, bro. I got locked up in Bankhead. Okay, I mean, Bankhead is one of the hardest, most toughest hoods. It's like worse than Compton. Okay, so I mean, in America and in the world. So you got to understand, like, I've seen it all firsthand. I was living it, and I was by myself, and I was young, bro, and I survived in it. Okay. So, I mean, for me to do that is quite an accomplishment, and it shows that God was with me and is with me, and it taught me a lot. And what I'm saying is, if people had more exposure to how tough these situations in these places are and how horrible it is, I mean, bro, I mean, you got to understand, bro. In Atlanta, I mean, it's insane. I don't even want to tell the story, bro. That's how bad it was, bro. Like I was sleeping on a couch and waking up, and like what the dude was doing there that I had no say so in whatsoever, because like I just had to, I needed somewhere to go. I had nowhere to go, and I was literally like everyone turned their back on me, and I was just trying to survive, right? And what I woke up to, what I saw in front of me, bro, you wouldn't believe it, man. You would not believe it, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like the things I've seen and been through, people couldn't even imagine, bro. You know what I mean? Y'all don't understand how bad it is. That's why y'all show up in Atlanta on the Greyhound, and within 5 seconds of you being in Atlanta, you find out what Atlanta about real quick. And then people like me got to talk to y'all, and this be females and everybody. People like me got to tell you and put you up on game and tell you reality. Like, listen, homie, you can't come around Atlanta wilding out or not knowing where you at. You better know where you at, bro. Like straight up, bro. Atlanta, they known for setting people up, homie. I know exactly how the streets work in ATL, and I'm not scared of them. See, they try to pull that stuff with y'all because they know y'all outsiders. They look at me, they can tell in 5 seconds I see through their acts. You know how many so-called women I've had to talk to in the streets of Atlanta? You know how grimy they are? Like y'all don't even know, bro. Y'all don't have a clue, bro. Y'all think that you know something about life. You think that you've been in tough areas, bro. Go to Atlanta, bro. Atlanta has one of the highest rates of mental illness, bro. I survived in Atlanta by myself. That says a lot about me, and I'm talking about in the hardest hoods in Atlanta consistently. Okay, I came up against criminals. I came up against dudes that were in and out of prison, and I won. I came up against everybody by myself. I'm an actual gangster. That's what y'all don't get. I'm not some white boy from the suburbs that doesn't know anything about life. I'm the dude that I lived all of this. Okay. So you have to understand it's just, that's half the reason I think people get on here and want to act like they're mad at me because they want to deny the truth they know about me. I'm not the dude you trying to paint me out to be. I'm a totally different animal and a different person. You're not talking to me. You're talking to some image you've created of me that doesn't exist because you don't know me. You know what I mean? Like straight up, bro. I come from all that, man. You feel me? And like I said, that's the element you need. And like I said, that's why I'm able to survive. That's why I'm able to be good in those environments. I can go to any block, bro, in any hood, in any ghetto and be good. See, I'm not promoting ignorance. People got to hear what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a gift to be able to walk between cultures. I'm talking about like Jesus having a gift to be able to go anywhere without fear. It's not something that you can or need or could have or want to have. It's something that you need to have because it saves my life every day. Does anyone feel me out there? What I'm saying? That's why I would listen to people like Styles. Again, shout out to him. Nothing but love, man. You know what I mean? Straight up, bro. I'm still sad about it. Straight up, you know what I mean? But that's why I listened to him because at least what he was kicking was some hood knowledge. At least what he was talking, a lot of it was real. You know what I mean? Like you gotta understand, bro. I got knowledge like that for years, bro. Like I'm technically more knowledgeable than him, a lot more knowledgeable, especially the hood. I could tell he had some hood knowledge, but he wasn't on my level. He wasn't because he ain't spent as much time as I have in these streets. He hasn't at all. That's why I was always inside. I was never inside, bro. That's the thing. You see me, I'm always in the street. You see how I'm programmed differently? Like real talk, I could use that as an example, and I'm not going to do it. Not talking about Styles, but talking about anyone. I would never want to talk on Styles too much because he's not able to speak or defend himself, and that's not fair to him. And like I said, I got nothing but love for him, always did. So I just want to say that. But moving forward, talking about anyone else, you see how we program differently? You see how I'm programmed to get moving right away and I just stay moving? That's because I come from the projects. I come from the actual ghetto. I come from the real hoods when they were active when I was 16 before they cleaned them all up. Okay, I'm programmed and built differently. Like I'm on some real gangsta stuff. Y'all don't know what that's like because you've never had to move or live like that. Y'all don't know what it's like to try to go to sleep and you can hear what's happening downstairs, okay? And you know exactly what I'm saying and you hearing it all night over and over again right below you. I'm talking about in the actual projects right below us, bro. All night, bro. And we don't know what can happen. We don't know what like we don't know if something's gonna literally. I didn't know if something could come through the floor at any minute. It would be their roof. It was our floor, right? Because we were in like project, like housing projects. Like you don't know what can happen, bro. I had no clue. You know what I mean? I remember the one thing I said at that time. Okay, I wasn't anywhere near where I am in my faith at this point back then. You know what I said? I said, "There's no way that we gonna make it out of this," straight up. And I was kind of joking. I thought it was funny, but like at the time, I really believed. Like I was like, "Ain't no way I'm gonna survive this. There's no way I'm getting out of this." Like that's just how I felt. I tried to joke around about it, but like I was actually like, I think we were still going to school and stuff at that time. We were doing something or going to schools and doing functions or talking or something or working. Like it was me and my best friend Derek. My best friend was named Derek Williams, I believe. He was a huge like Jamaican dude. Okay, like and he was one of my best friends, bro. You know what I mean? So like I said, I've dealt with different cultures my whole life, man. I've dealt with different people. I mean, I miss him too, man. He would brighten my day, man. He had a lot of issues, but man, he brightened my day. He sure went out of his way for me. He really did, man. He literally I give him credit, man. We were in Florida, bro. He let me stay with his people and everything for a little bit. They weren't that nice to me, and they had me basically like doing slave labor. But I mean, either way, I mean, he did something for me because he knew I was living in my truck at that time. So shout out to Derek. Derek was all right, man. I dealt with real people, man. I know that people have issues. We all have issues. But it's about working through those issues and hopefully working through them together. And that's what I try to do. Is like I said, bring unity. I just want to help people, man. But like I said, you can tell that our programming is different. Our conditioning is different. You know what I'm saying? That's why my biggest pet peeve and my biggest thing with my conditioning is just how you talk to me and respect because I come from an environment that I'm really built like that and the way I always moved was if anybody disrespected me at all, like I was already coming undone and in a whole rage and I mean you already knew what time it was. I have to turn that all off now because I'm not in that environment and I'm not part of that. I don't come from that life anymore and I'm glad I made it out of that. But that's what I come from straight up. So, you know, I mean, it's hard to explain, but and I was young. I didn't have a choice to come up like that. I had to. I had to grow up quick. That's my life. I don't know what anyone else is telling people or talking about. I don't come from no money. I don't come from nothing, bro. I come from absolute poverty and having nothing where like I have to literally do whatever it takes just to eat and to survive, man. You know what I mean? That's why like I've just cleaned everything up and like I've changed my life, man, in a positive manner. And it's never because I was making a mistake or dropping the ball. It's just those were the cards I was dealt. You know what I mean? So it taught me a lot, man. But like I said, I think that's the biggest problem is I want people to understand you have to embrace everything, everybody. You got to embrace the hood. It don't mean you want to live in the hood. You don't. That's the last thing I want. I see it from every side of the token in all perspectives. So I'm just saying, like when it comes to me and Christina, we gonna always be on the nice side of town in the nice areas and nice places, right? The only one who's going to be going to these bad, areas is me as Batman because it needs to happen because that's the only way we can change things. Like literally, you can send me into a hood and a projects, and one or two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to go out in those hood and projects and I'm going to literally get treated like it's a circus, okay? Like I'm going to get treated basically like I'm the pinball and it's a pinball machine. That's number one thing that could happen, which I'm okay with because that's why we build the suit to be protective, okay? And I'm going to stand up for myself still, and I'm probably still going to be able to win. Yeah, just Batman with nothing but his bare hands. That's the truth. That's how tough I am. So, as long as the suit is built on point and as protective as can be, I can pretty much come up against anything and anybody. That's the truth. But one or two things are going to happen. Either that's going to happen if I'm in the hood, or the hood is going to have to receive me well. And I'm going to tell you how it works nine times, really 10 times out of 10 is the hood has to receive me either way. Because see, when you brave, it's like Tupac talked about in his music. He said, "If you a thug, like what I mean, look me in my eyes and show it." Like people can feel your spirit and your aura. You know what I mean? So like I'm really live that. Like I'm really about that life. I'm really living. I really live in the thug life. Always have. You know what I mean? It's just I turned it down a little bit. Because like I said, I got to clean things up. You know what I mean? I'm living a new life now and I'm a new being in God. You know what I mean? I'm all on this God stuff now. But, before I was all about that God stuff, before I worked this job, I was a gangster, like straight up. So, it's like, how do I put it? It's just something people need to learn, man. People need to learn how to be open and, experience life for what it is and understand that we're all one, we're all people, and we all, we're all the same, man. It's the truth. We're all the same, man. You can, and that's what's so beautiful about me. It doesn't matter how much money I get or how much money you give me. I'm gonna still be able to talk to people at any level, no matter what environment they come from, and they still gonna relate to me, and I'm still gonna be able to, give them a hug and show love, and we still tight, and got real love. You know what I'm saying? And that's with real people. That's what I think Batman is supposed to do. Batman is supposed to go to these projects and all these different places that are rough, and even the nice places, the suburbs too, and just spread love and positivity for everyone, and help people. You know what I mean? It's just what it is, man. And like I said, yeah, you probably gonna get some haters. You might get some crazy stuff happening. You know what I mean, concerning me, and that's why the cameras will be rolling. You feel me? Because it'll be YouTube content that'll be golden. Okay. And like I said, I mean, there's not. It's not really that big of a deal for me ever, because we're gonna have money. So if we have to take a matter to court, we do, and anything I ever do will only be self defense. And like I said, Batman's just nothing but hands, so I can't ever get into that much trouble as long as I'm smart and just defend myself and take care of myself. That's why I believe in standing up and being a man and only depending on your hands, being a man. Like as a man, you put your dukes up, you put your hands up. You don't do nothing else. You depend on your hands, because your hands are never going to get you in that much trouble if you just be smart and, think. You know what I mean? Now, and that's the whole reason why I refrain and do not ever want to get into it with anybody, because I don't know my own strength. And I'm in control of a lot of things, but not of everything, especially if I have to actually get into the mix or get into it with someone. And I know, I don't know, but I don't know what I'm capable of, especially with my strength. Right? So I do not want problems with anyone, because it's like when people say they want to meet up on the internet. Why in the hell would you do that, when the truth is, if you make a mistake, do you know what you're looking at in the future? Someone like me, if I get into it with someone, I already know what can happen. That's why I avoid it at all cost, and I would do my all to avoid it, because once I get to that point and I feel like I have to defend myself, right? And that's a scary place to be. And see, my philosophy at this point is don't put yourself in that position at all. Now, when it comes to, I just think I just saw the bat again. When it comes to the Batman thing, it's different, because then as Batman, guess what? You get to do this professionally, basically, publicly in front of everyone, so everyone sees what I'm doing. So then you get all these people. Trust me, it's power when you have power of word through millions of people commenting saying, oh, well, Batman handled that perfectly. Batman was right in this scenario. You get what I'm saying? So it's like I can't really lose, I can't fail, because I don't make rash decisions. I'm not going to go do nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? And there's a way to handle things the right way and peacefully. That's why I just try to get as strong as possible and be ready and prepared the right way. But we all about God and peace, man. We just want to help people. That's the truth. You're never going to catch me just going out my way to be any type of way. You know what I mean? But like I said, it is what it is. That's part of why, like, when you're Batman, most of it can't be televised. It's just the truth, because that's my whole point, is that, like, Batman, the whole point of it is to go into these cold, dark street corners that other people don't want to go into, and you're going as Batman, so you're gonna come up against pure evil. That's just the truth. I already know what I'm gonna come up against. You think it's anything I ain't come up against before? Dude, I've been in hoods by myself, literally with dudes. I'm by myself walking down other people's blocks, and they just looking at me, just ready to go, bro. And I'm not backing down, and I'm cussing and whatever and calling them out. And like I'm in they hood in they block with nobody with me. Okay? That takes courage. Okay. I mean, I've had to be at that point. I've had to do that. And trust me, there's been some scenarios that were scary as hell. You know what I mean? You ever been in those scenarios, like where you kind of messing up and like your feet kind of jitter and start moving a little faster? I've been in those positions. I can admit when I get scared. Like I get scared and nervous sometimes. It's just not a good thing though, because then my adrenaline starts pumping. I'm not the type that's gonna, back down or run. I don't run when I get scared. I get ready. That's why, like I said, me, I know me, and I scare the hell out of me. I scare the hell out of myself because I know me. You understand? Because I know me as a person, just in any sense of anything, I know that I will take it there. I will take it to any point. I have no limits. I know how I am, and I don't want that spirit to come out of me. You feel me? So, like I said, with me, I try to keep things as cool and calm as I can. You feel me? And the crazy part is I'm so well trained from life now that it's really honestly easy for me to just diffuse situations or just basically like, you know, handle something real quick and not even have a problem dealing with someone. It's not hard for me anymore. I'm emotionless about it. It's easy. So there's a way to do things, but I'm saying you have to be careful no matter what you do. Do you understand that if you make a mistake, like let's say you get into it with someone and let's say they fall the wrong way and something happens to them, do you know that you could be looking at a life sentence just because of that? So now you know why I've never entertained people who say, "Yeah, come do this. Drop your location. I want to meet on the internet." I don't do those games because I care about my life and my freedom. I understand that accidents happen. It doesn't matter. I already know I'm tough. I don't need to prove that. Everybody in the world knows I'm tough. Y'all know I'm tough. I don't need to prove myself to nobody. Prove what? That I can be dumb and ignorant? See, that's what people think. They think they're tough if they throw away everything they ever worked for. You don't put everything on the line for people who aren't worth it and for no reason unless you can't think for yourself. So I'm just trying to the reason I'm talking about this, the only reason I'm explaining is I want people to understand you got to look at things from different lenses and different perspectives. It will really help you. Like I said, that linebacker at that track meet, I bet you if he had really spent any time in the hood and he knew how ignorant it is, because like if he was in my position and what I've seen and what I've been through, I promise you he would have been smarter about how he dealt with that dude. Because if that dude was sitting there in the same way and I was in the linebacker's position, I can kind of figure out what probably happened. I would have gone a different approach about how I talked to dude. I would have asked him nicely, like, "Hey, yo, can I sit here, or whatever, or something." I would have told him like, "What's up," and given him like, give him dabs, give him a handshake, give him a pound. And see, that's the whole difference is how you approaching someone. See, if you approach someone at their level with some respect and showing some love, they gonna be okay with you. But when you coming around people and you got the wrong body language, and that's just the truth. The dude is he didn't do nothing wrong. It's just he doesn't know any better because he don't come from that environment. It's not his fault. It's not nobody's fault. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that might have been what happened. He might have been a little cocky. He might have been feeling himself. He don't know how people from these different environments get. The other dude was raised, you can tell by hood folks. He was raised differently. So he's gonna look at it like what it is. And apparently he told them that he was gonna defend himself before it all went down. And they trying to paint it in Facebook. People got an agenda saying that Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever got all this funding for his defense campaign and that this dude didn't. This dude just raised over $250,000 within 5 seconds. It's probably way more than that already. Come on, bro. Y'all can't be serious, man. Quit trying to do like bias reviews and bias smear campaigns. Like, just get real, bro. The fact is, at the end of the day, man, everybody just wants to be shown respect. Like I said, we need to learn how to deal with each other in a peaceful manner instead of all this nonsense. Anybody can do something crazy. Is it really worth it, man? All it does is make both parties miserable. People are sitting there crying and mourning people. Like, we don't want that, bro. We want people to get along and we cherish life. You know what I mean? I do personally. I love life. I want everybody to live and be happy. We trying to bring peace and positivity and unity to the streets and for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Y'all just have your own agenda. You ain't really about putting all that nonsense down and really putting on some gloves and doing some boxing. That's what I brought to the table. That's my idea. I guess that's why y'all brought that up, right? And talk about it because you knew that Jim Jones was copying me, what I created, bro. That was my movement. My whole movement was about putting gloves on. I'm 10-0 in that league. You think I'm not going to be able to bring that league back if I want? Yeah, and I could have other people boxing it. I own my own boxing league. Like, everybody been knowing this. That's why I don't have no respect for disingenuous people who be saying everything out of spite, but they can't get their act together and can't show no love and can't say nothing that's positive ever. But you a fan? That's crazy. That's sad, man. You feel me? So, like I said, bro, it is what it is, man. Like I said, at the end of the day, these are all little homies, all of them. They all like 3 feet tall, they're little pigeons. They live in outhouses like chickens. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. But at the end of the day, like I said, ain't nobody messing with me, ain't nobody on my level. And the fact is, everybody's a fan, man. You know what I mean? Again, shout out to Styles, man. Shout out to Steez. Nothing but love. Everybody else I already put in their place verbally. I'm done giving them any attention. I'm not going to talk about them again because it's a waste of my time. I'm just, some people are just not on my radar, man. You're not on my level. You're never gonna get on my level, and it is what it is, man. It seems like everybody. I mean, when y'all trying to come back to YouTube when you got banned, like, go ahead, man. Because as far as I'm concerned, it just shows your desperation. It shows how bad you wanted to succeed, like I have on this platform, and none of you could do what I do. All right, one easy. I'll talk to y'all later, man. Just follow my advice, please. It will change your life, and it will help. I hope that I just want people to learn from me, you know what I mean? But like I said, me and Christina, we gonna be always, on the rich, yuppie, snobby part of town. We're gonna do all the nice stuff and stay away from the bad areas and the bad people. But I'm just saying, as far as the Batman thing, I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point is to be the light in the darkness, is to send me straight into the darkest corners of the world. And, we just have to have faith and believe that I'm gonna come out. And that's what I do. It's what I do best. I'm an angel, and this is what I do. So, I need people to understand that, my biggest thing about life is that I want to conquer every fear. That's the thing. That's the thing. It takes people time, and it's hard for people to understand. And that's what I want. I want Christina to really understand me and my passion and why this is who I am and what makes me different from anyone else. I've lived my life opposing fear and conquering fear my entire life. And I mean, there's evidence of this. I mean, physically, everything. I mean, I've overcame everything. I never lived in fear. I never lived with, let me be cautious of my decisions. No, I just pedal to the metal, full accelerator, went forward, and I just believe in living life without brakes. And I'm not encouraging that at all. Like, be cautious. But that's my point, is that I'm lucky to have made it this far, and when people meet me, I think they just underestimate me and don't understand, like, how much of a gangster I seriously am, like how hard I actually went my entire life. Like, like I said, I've completely stepped on the brakes, metaphorically speaking, as far as my life. I've completely, learned how to be at peace and calm, and you know, that's the craziest thing. When you meet people, you can never judge them from their appearance, and I understand that when people say that, because the people that look a certain way, you'll underestimate them and think, "Oh, this is nobody," and you don't realize this person is capable of things that you never even thought possible. That's the truth. That's why I do. At the end of the day, I have love, and I love for the church group, and I still respect them, and I'll always mess with them heavy. It ain't nothing but love. What I'm saying is never negative on here. It's just I have to say how I feel because it needs to be said, and I'm just not going to hold back from what I feel anymore, speaking it or vocalizing it. And that's something I have to work on for my health. But I got nothing but love for them, man. They're kind of like, I mean, they're it is what it is, man. They're like family. I mean, that's just the truth. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it is what it is. They're like soul family. You know what I mean? And that's the way I look at them. So, like I said, I still want to help them. I still want to do everything. I still might end up talking to them and going over there with them at some point. I just didn't want to do the Kentucky thing for my own personal reasons, and I explained that to them. And I'll apologize right now publicly if I've said anything that has offended anyone. That was never my intention, truly, at all. It was never my goal. But I use this platform to vent and to think and use my thoughts to get to the right point. So a lot of things when I'm talking, you can't take it personally. It's just my thought process. So it's really my way of coping. It's my way of getting through things, and I'm really just explaining things to myself. So it's basically me getting out my thoughts so that I can come to the conclusion that I need to get to. You know what I mean? So I apologize for that if sometimes it's hard for y'all to understand or process, or you're taking it literally or the wrong way. It's just that's the way I get to my conclusion, is I have to think from every angle about the issue and analyze it. Does that make sense? So it's not that I may necessarily stand on one thing I said. It's not necessarily literal or something I stand on. It's just I needed to say that to get it out of my system so that I can go back and look at every thought that I've said and stated and put them all together to come to the conclusion and decision that I want to make holistically. It takes me a long time to figure people out. Some people I'll never figure out. You know what I mean? For one, women confuse the hell out of me. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm not trying to figure out the millions of mysteries in the world. Okay. But it is what it is. But Christina, I love you more than anything. Thank you for always being there for me, and just understand I never forget, and I always see that, and I cherish every moment I get to even talk to you. And I just really need you. I really need you with me physically in person, and I'm praying to God that that happens really soon. You know what I mean? I really need that to happen. You know what I mean? I just want to be with my girlfriend. I want to be with Christina. That's what I care about. That's what's going to make me, even happier. That's what's going to make me truly happy. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. But I'll talk to y'all later, man. Y'all have a good one.